Hi students, welcome back to Appleby Academy's classes. So in this video, we are going to discuss about the concept tax management. Okay, so for that we are actually going through the question which is on June 2023 session. And when you're just going through the first question, you can see this is shift one question. It is an art of dodging tax without actually breaking the law. This is related with. So you need to identify the term which is connected with this definition. And you can see a similar question on the same shift, and that was actually about this different concept and their explanation. You need to match them properly. Okay, so in order to answer both this question, you should know what do you mean by this tax management, tax avoidance, tax evasion and tax planning. So now we are going to discuss about each of these concepts well. So when you're coming to tax planning, what do you mean by tax planning? See, tax planning is actually the analysis of financial situation or plan to ensure that all elements work together to allow you to pay the lowest tax possible. So we are planning by considering all the rules and regulations which is available in Income Tax Act, and with that we are trying to minimize tax amount, how much you can minimize your tax. So you're giving concentration on that particular concept by how can you reduce tax as much as possible. So this is about reducing tax liability. How? So how we can actually reduce tax liability using or taking the advantage of legitimate concessions and exemptions. So when you're just considering, we can see that a number of exemptions and some other concessions are actually given in Income Tax Act, like some deductions is there, some exemptions. So we are actually using these kinds of exemptions or deduction in order to reduce the tax liability. Okay, so by using a variety of exemptions or variety of concessions, we can actually reduce tax to a minimum amount. Okay, so by using this, so we should plan well in order to reduce this tax by using or making a proper plan regarding all these concessions and exemptions, and with that what we can do, we can reduce these tax. That is tax planning. Okay, here we are arranging business operations in a way that it will reduce tax liability. Let's take an example. Section 80G. We know that 80G is actually the deduction which is related to donation. So if the organization is paying donations, that can be for a number of situations there, as you can discuss when you are discussing more about Section 80G, that is about donations. You can see a number of deductions are there, 100% applicable or 50% applicable. Such types of exemption is coming under Section 80G. So when you are using these kinds of donation, you will get exemptions with by using this particular section. Okay, so we are using such exemptions to reduce tax liability. Okay, that means our organization is paying some amount as donation based on different schemes. So they will actually get a deduction for the amount they just paid as donations based on the type of donation. Okay, so Section 80G deduction of the Income Tax Act is allowed for the amount paid by the taxpayers as donation to any fund or institutions or charitable trust. Right, so tax planning is you are making a proper plan by using available concessions, available exemptions. With that you are trying to reduce the tax liability as much as possible. Okay, that's about tax planning. Now when you're coming to tax evasion, see, tax evasion is actually an illegal act. It is not at all a legal one. It is completely an illegal act. Here we are trying to evade your tax. That means you are avoiding tax. You're not going to pay, like you're just making some misrepresentations, or you're just not showing up your exact income, you are hiding your income, or you are showing a lower amount of income in order to reduce your tax liability. So here also you are trying to reduce your tax liability, but the problem is you are doing it in a illegal way, okay, which is not at all in a legal manner. So which involves hiding or misrepresentation of income. That means just consider that your income is rupees 5 lakh, but you are showing it less, it like 3,50,000 or 3,60,000. So here you are showing the income as much as lower as compared to the original amount. Okay, so by that, when our income is getting down, we know that automatically the amount that you need to pay on such tax will get lowered. Okay, but here we are doing it in an illegal manner. Okay, so under-reporting income, that means you're not at all showing your income or inflating some deductions, hiding or not reporting cash transaction or hiding money in offshore accounts. So you are doing a number of practices. These are the different situations through which you can actually evade your tax. So you need to keep in mind that tax evasion is an illegal act. Tax evasion is an illegal act. Here we are trying to hide, or you're not at all disclosing your income in a proper manner. Okay, you're hiding, or you're not showing up, or you're just showing a lower amount than actual one, like a way that you are misrepresenting. Okay, that's a situation of an illegal manner. It is an illegal intention of non-payment of tax. So here, what is the thought? Here you are not able to, or you're just not at all going to pay the actual amount for tax. You're just hiding all this. Okay, it's about deducting, or it is about reducing tax liability as much as possible by using this misrepresentation or by using this illegal manner. So we know that which is illegal, so that means which is not at all permissible under Income Tax Act. So under-reporting of income is the best example you can actually quote for this one, tax evasion. So tax planning is a legal manner, but when you are coming to tax evasion, it is illegal. Okay, next one is tax avoidance. Tax avoidance is legal. Okay, tax avoidance is completely legal. Here, what we are doing, see, the use of legal methods to minimize the amount of income tax earned by the individual or business. So here also, what we are doing, we are trying to reduce tax liability. The purpose of these all things is same, but how we are doing, that is different. So here what we are doing is, we are taking the loopholes. We are trying to identify the loopholes in each and every act or each and every provisions, and based on that, what you are doing, you are trying to reduce your tax liability. It is about finding out the loopholes in act. Okay, it is not like you are getting something directly, so you are just using, or you are just identifying which all are the loopholes which can actually use for reducing your tax liability, and thus avoiding the payment of tax, but which is completely legal. It is done by twisting or interpreting the provision of law and avoiding payment of tax. Avoiding payment of tax means you are reducing the payment of tax. Okay, how much you can reduce by using the loopholes in law. Okay, so the major point you need to concentrate here is that you are identifying the loopholes in law in order to reduce your tax liability. So an activity taking unfair advantage of shortcomings in the tax rules by finding new ways to avoid the payment of tax that are within the limits of law. So here, when you're saying that it is, you can just consider it as unfair manner, because when you're just considering about the rules, tax rules, you are just identifying the shortcomings of that one, and you're taking undue advantage of it, or you're taking a maximum advantage from that. Okay, so that's a situation which is happening in a tax avoidance, which is completely lawful. But when you're considering tax evasion, which is illegal. Okay, anyway, the objective of tax planning, tax evasion, tax avoidance, all of this is actually reducing tax. But when you're considering the situation of tax evasion, it is about an illegal manner. it's about tax management. See, it's planning affairs in such a manner that the tax obligation managed properly. Here we are making a proper management regarding the tax payments and all. So here what we are focusing is to comply with the provision of income tax and its allied rules. That means here we are following the provisions or the rules which is related to Income Tax Act properly in our organization. Okay, so it will help to avoid the payment of interest, penalty or prosecution. So if you are following the tax rules or income tax rules or regulations properly, that will help you to avoid all the avoid payment of such penalties or prosecutions. All these can be avoided, right? So it's about a proper management. You are managing your income properly, you are following all the rules which is allayed by or which is in Income Tax Act, you are paying income tax liabilities properly, you are submitting all the legal requirements accurately. So in that situation, it will help you to avoid all the penalties or avoid all these interest payment and like that all. Okay, so it is about a proper management regarding all those which is connected with tax payment or tax something related to tax prosecutions or tax law. Okay, so all these terms are very important. Okay, I will just summarize the terms which we already discussed. The first one is tax planning. It's about you're trying to reduce your tax liability with the help of or by considering the tax rules and regulations. Okay, and when you're just coming to this tax evasion, it is an illegal act. Here we are trying to reduce your tax liability in an illegal manner, because here you are showing or you are misrepresenting your income, or you are just hiding your income, or showing you're not actually showing your actual income. In all these situations, you are actually doing what you're doing like you're doing something which is not good, right? So that means you're just misrepresenting all these, or you're just doing something against the tax rules. Okay, so here also your tax get minimized, right? Then when you're just coming to tax avoidance, which is legal. Okay, when you're considering with tax evasion, it's completely legal, but here we are using the loopholes which is available in the income tax rules. So here you are actually taking an undue advantage over the shortcomings of that. Okay, that is actually happening in case of a tax avoidance. And when you're coming to tax management, it's about keeping all the things which is necessary for an organization to follow, which is related to Income Tax Act. Okay, you're just doing or you're just following all the rules and regulations which is connected with the concerned act, and you're making payments properly, or you're just submitting all the details accurately at proper time. All these are actually coming under the head of tax management. Now, by getting an idea about these four concepts, it's very easy for you to answer both these questions. So when you're just coming to the first question, this is on shift 1. It is an art of dodging tax without actually breaking the law. So it is an act of dodging tax. What do you mean by this tax dodger or tax dodging tax? See, a tax dodger is actually a person who is actually trying to or finding to make a less payment related to tax. It can be legal way or which is illegal one. Okay, it's just simply we can say that a tax dodger is a person who is trying to minimize the tax, or he is trying maximum to avoid the tax payment. But here we can say that without actually breaking the law. So which is he is actually following the law and he is trying to reduce the tax. What's the situation? He is trying to reduce the tax, but which is legally. Okay, so you can actually go for which one? Here is actually minimizing, and if it is not actually something related to breaking up of law, you can actually go for a tax evasion. But here it is saying that without, so the law is actually didn't get break up, so you can actually go for tax avoidance. So the correct answer for this question is tax avoidance, because here that is an art. Here what we are doing, we are reducing, or the taxpayer is trying to minimize or avoid maximum tax, and he is doing it in the legal manner. Okay, so you can actually go for tax avoidance. Okay, so you can go for tax planning only when it is given that it is about taking the concessions or taking the deductions which is available in the tax, and then you can go for tax planning, but here it is not mentioned, so we'll go for option B. Next question, again from same shift. Here you have taxation perspective and consequence outcome. So we can actually read list 1 and based on that we can try to match them. The person is liable to penalty and prosecution. Which person will be go for this penalty and prosecution? Okay, anyway, we will read complete list 1. The tax is reduced by taking advantage of loopholes of the law. Loopholes, when you are getting the term loopholes, you need to connect it with which term? Actually, you can actually connect it with tax avoidance. So you can say that B2 is confirmed. So you can just check the options. See, here there is only one option which starts with B1, B2. Okay, so thereby you can actually go for the answer. Anyway, we will come back to the question. Main aim is compliance with legal formality. That means you need to follow legal formalities. That's the main thing. It is a guide in decision making. That's a next one. So anyway, by getting B2 is confirmed for you, and based on that it is very easy for you to answer. But anyway, we'll check it up. The person is liable to penalty or prosecution when if he is trying to evade tax, that means which is an illegal manner, right? So you can actually connect it with taxation, tax evasion, because he is trying to do an illegal activity. So if he is doing some illegal activity, it is compulsory that he will need to pay some penalty or he will go for prosecution. So A3. Then this one we already discussed as we are considering about the advantage of loopholes. You can connect it with tax avoidance. Then the main aim is compliance with legal formalities. So if the person is following the legal formalities accurately, you can actually connect it with tax management. And guide in decision making. Planning is actually giving you a guide how to take decisions, right? So like a way that we can actually connect it with tax planning. So A3, B2, C1, D4. A3, B2, C1, D4. So in this video, we discussed about the basic concept which is related to tax. So here you need to find, or here you need to study all these 4 concepts, because when you're just going through the previous year question, you can see a number of questions were asked from the same topic. Like you need to identify what is tax management or what is tax avoidance, evasion and all. So and this time you got 2 questions from the same shift itself. So see the importance from this area, and you can actually expect more questions from the same concept itself. Okay, so I hope this video will help you for your preparation. Thank you and happy learning.